Good morning, everyone. This is Shannon with Cinderella's Mice. How are you guys this morning? It's 8:18 my time in Phoenix, Arizona. I just wanted to get on real quick and let you guys know how well things went yesterday, um, because I think that my experience can, help and benefit you guys with your stuff. If it does, I'm so happy to that I could share that with you and that it's helped you. Okay, I said before Christmases do not do well, and just how wonky it is with the paydays and stuff because Christmas falls towards the end of the month. People's rent is due on the 1st. So it's like a hard holiday to hit. So I went out last night. I decided to do just a um, small basket concepts up to medium to large, but a small amount of them. And I did very well. So yesterday was Friday. It was a payday. Good morning, sweetheart. How are you? I was hoping to catch you. I wanted to come on because I know that some people are going to be going out today. I did extremely well last night. Would you guys believe I sold a display? Someone bought the display off my car. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Um, so I had a lot of stuff left over last year from Christmas. I had the mousses, um, like the backings, the non-perishable items is what I'm trying to get at. So I had a lot of non-perishable items, and it's like, okay, well, the best way I'm going to get rid of this is, I'm going to either I can do it again and strategically try and find that spot for Christmas, right? Or I'm just going to have to give it to family over the next 10 years. Okay. This stuff's small. It could work. So, okay, I wanted to share a couple things with you guys. The tables and the tablecloths. It looks very elegant. It looks very fancy. It looks very professional. The downside of it is that I'm handicapped, so I cannot lift those tables easily. I like to use the space to carry the merchandise, right? To carry the baskets. So the less I have to haul, the better. Um, I wanted to also state that I think so. My target base is the average person, because there's a lot of us, right? So I think the tablecloths might look a little too fancy. And what I mean by that is people, when they see that and they see that fanciness about it, they're gonna think things are expensive and just drive right by. Um, so last weekend, when I went out, I did the tablecloths. I was over up at the Mouse House area, and either it was too early. Plus, an event was going on across the street, and by the way, I did poach it. People were coming over, so they did get attention, but so did the snowman. And I was able to move one, but I think that it was either too early or the tablecloths were too fancy. Um, People did drive by, but people who usually drive by a couple times, those looky-loos that like to window shop to see if it's worth their while to stop and take a look around. Usually when looky-loos do that and I'm on the hood of my car, they stop. And then they ask questions and they get curious and they end up buying. But it was almost like a mindset that this looks fancy and this looks like it's going to be expensive, right? I feel like a lot of the stuff that we do, it does look fancy in of itself and does look expensive in of itself, because that's what we do, right? But what we also do is we keep that inexpensiveness in there. And so, I wanted to share that part about the tablecloths and the tables that they do look very beautiful. They look very eloquent. They look very professional. They look very put together. But when people are out shopping, with their hair up in their buns, they got their Starbucks and they're in their tracksuits, they kind of want to meet that. They want to meet that. They want to shop. They tend to want to shop that, is what I'm trying to state. Um, so another reason why I like the hood of my car is that if an area isn't doing well, then it's easy for me to just pack up the car and just drive to another spot. Um, People loved the display. They loved the snowman. I have an 8 foot tall snowman. It also lights up like at night, so it's got bling-ins and everything going on with it. I'm gonna get rid of this troll. Um, so it gets a lot of attention. It gets a lot of um, at night as the sun sets and it gets darker, the lights come on. And I also showed a thank you for all the hearts. I really appreciate it. I showed the uh, okay, so I want to say it was either last week or a couple weeks ago, where I had the snowflake light projection, where they were, whirling all around. People love that. So from where I was at and from where the busy road is, they could see that easily. It attracted them in, and a couple of them did state, we came in because we liked your display. We wanted to come and see what was going on. And they did not question the hood. Okay, they did not question that. They just thought the gifts were so beautiful. The display they really liked. They loved the bows. They absolutely love the bows. So I did really well. So I had gotten those bread baskets that Dollar General had on the 90% thing, summer in closeout. So I had gotten one of the last one of those and wrapped a Santa sack around it, because when you're on the hood of your car, it can make things that are already like an uneven weight, it can make it even more worse. So it's kind of a downside to it, because it's not necessarily a flat surface. It's kind of like a rounded out curved surface as you're on your hood, right? So what I did was I took that basket, wrapped it around a Santa sack, and I put the small hot chocolate concepts in there. The last minute, I also decided to do a squish bear in a clear box. And so those smaller items, it was just easier to keep rounded up, right? So I put those, in that basket, and I arranged it really nicely. So these people pull up. And I got the sleigh baskets out, and I got the hat baskets out, and everything else. These two younger girls pulled up, and they loved the snowman hats got a lot of attention as well. So okay, so they pull up. They love the snowman's hat. They wanted to shop with me. Apparently, one of the girls' sisters was just having a really difficult time in a really difficult year, and the girl went to that display basket that I had. She says, I want to buy this. I want to buy everything in this. I'm like, you're what? I was like, this is a basket that I just have to keep the small items rounded up in. Albeit, I looked at it again and it did look stacked like a basket. she's like, oh, and I was like, well, yeah, I mean, if you want to buy it, I'll sell that to you. And she's like, well, okay, let me see what else you have. And the other girl ran inside of the ATM and came out, and I was like, okay, just talking with them and getting a feel for, what they were looking for to hone in onto their needs. And the girl says, it's right here. I want to buy this whole basket. I had 2 hot chocolate sets left in it, 2 of the Squishmallow bears in there. And she's like, this is just perfect. This could be for her and her husband. And I want to buy the whole thing. I was like, okay. So I sold them the display. It was a basket wrapped in a Santa sack. And they ended up buying the whole thing, and they want to come back tonight to take another look at the snowman hats. So, I was very excited about that. One thing I did want to state that people were kind of turned off by the makeup. I think it's just because they don't want to um, pick the wrong color for who they're shopping for. Makeup tends to be a harder thing to buy for other people, right? Because we don't want to screw up to begin with, and we want people to be happy, right? But honestly, makeup would be probably the last thing that I'd be shopping for unless it was in one of those nice gift sets that had a variety of colors to choose from. And what we do is we buy those sets, but we break those down and put them all into different gifts. So both of actually all of the snowman hats have those novelty perfumes. Particularly the lipstick and the lip gloss, and then a tube of lipstick that matches the lip gloss, and that's to keep it congruent with the lipstick perfume that I have, and they absolutely loved it. But I had other choices that was more practical for them. So like the blanket with the sleigh and the body spa with the body wash and the body cream, um, that went real well because it was something that could meet their need to where it was a great gift and it was a fleece blanket and it was safer, right? It was safer in the respect that it was a safe choice to make for the loved one that they were buying for. So if they could choose over, the lipstick and the lip gloss, and here we have a nice fleece blanket and a spa set, um, they went with that safer choice, right? So I am going to be going back out tonight. I really wanted to do a recap last night, but I was just wore out. I was so exhausted. I went out from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. and a lot of my traffic came at night. So, we had the younger group out. We had, believe it or not, when we talk about last minute shoppers, there were people coming out at night. Um, I want to say between 5 and 6 p.m. was when things really started getting going. What I really liked about it, I mean, I had like a swarm of people at one time and I was just grabbing stuff. And this guy was like, I want 4, and I grabbed this stuff and brought it to him. He's like, hang on, let me park the car. And he was like, let me take another second look. And then I had 2 other guys that were there earlier, came back. He was on a motorcycle and he brought his brother back with his brother's car. And they got stuff from me. But it was like I knew my stuff. You know what I mean? Like I knew my skill and I knew my stuff and I did my thing, and so that was really encouraging. Because, when we get a lot of stuff, and we're doing a lot of concepts because we're not just building for, Christmas, we're building for Valentine's and Mother's Day. And, when we're looking at something, we're trying to think, what is in this? What do we have going on here? I was able to do that, and it felt really good. So I did end up reducing well, hello, Maria Gonzalez. How are you this morning? I did end up reducing the prices. So I went from a 4 times markup down to a 3. And that just, everybody was interested at that point. So I wanted to stay if you get people, you know, if you're experiencing people that are coming and they're looking and they're not buying, and it's like a consecutive amount of people, you know, your prices could be too high. So may want to reduce your prices by $5. Um, you know, that I go by a 4 times the concept markup, and I went down to 3. You know, so I reduced, you know, the concepts by $5, and they just started to go like hotcakes. So, hey Lisa, I'm good, Shannon. Lisa Marie Gonzalez says hello. Glad you're doing good. So, did you ever find a spot? Have you been out yet, lady? Because I know you're getting into this. I know it's like your first year, and you know you were looking at locations. So I hope you found one, and I hope you're getting out there. So I wanted to state that I do have the tables. I do have the fancy tablecloths, everything. I like the hood of my car because when people see that, you know, they know that they're paying more for the gift. And it's not going into, like, when we go into Macy's and we shop, we know we're paying for the marble floors and the expensive, you know, like gold countertops kind of like type thing. And what we really want is, you know, we want the value of our stuff going into the clothes, going into the purses, going into the shoes, you know. So, you know, it felt a lot like that. Plus, if, you know, I could pack it up and, you know, if something isn't doing well, I could pack it up and drive to another spot. So when I had the tablecloths out, plus that event was going on across the street, I want to say even though that was going on, I did get some traffic, and a lady did come over from the event and did, you know, get a basket from me, but it was either too early, or it was too fancy for them, or it was both, right? So if we see something that's too expensive, we think everything's expensive. I mean, that's just like the mindset, right? And you know, I don't know if that turned off a lot of people. So I just wanted to share thoughts on that and see if I could get some feedback. Um, oh, ooh, okay. Well, I'm glad you're getting your floors redone. And hopefully, once those are done, you'll get your stuff out of storage with your furniture, and you'll get set up again and put some concepts together, because we've got Valentine's coming up. I just could not believe how well I did. Couldn't believe it. I managed to hit that sweet spot because, see, Christmas, what is it? Christmas Day is what, Thursday? Christmas Eve is Wednesday. So basically, this was the last Friday that people are getting paid before Christmas. So it's kind of like this is the last minute part. I'm going to go up there tonight from 5, hopefully till 11 p.m. because things really jumped off at that time. And I got like a bunch of more other stuff over at the Mouse House that I can now go and get, because although it was small, the hat boxes are big. And I decided to do 2 hat boxes just to see how they would do. And they did really, really well because a lot of people said like the snowman hats were unique. The hat boxes were unique. The perfumes were unique. They're very novelty. They love that. The stores do not have that kind of stuff. And they do not have that kind of quality of stuff that we offer, that we build to present to people. And they just loved it. You know, I love the people. They're just great, you know. And I think that, you know, it brings a certain amount of healing, I guess. Somehow it just does, you know. People love I sold out out of the hot chocolate concepts that I had out there. So the junior mint went really well. That I have no more of those. I'm going to get more hot chocolate sets, the rest of them, from the Mouse House and whatever else I have over there, and I'll be packing up the rest of the car. I almost sold out last night, you guys. I could not believe the lady bought my display. So if you want to work, you got some smaller concepts and you just put it in, this was like it was a bread basket size. And in fact, it was a bread basket. And I had got this Santa sack from DT one year. It was like, what, $3? And it was last year when I had got it. And I wanted to use that as a part of the display, because when we move gifts and things dwindle, it can discourage people from coming, because nobody wants to stop their car to look at three things, to look at three gifts. When people stop, they want to be able to make it worth their while, if that makes sense. So what I did was I got the Santa sack, because see if you could put it with paper and build it up and make it big, right? Makes it more festive, and it doesn't make it look bare, if that makes sense. So anyhow, I had rounded up the smaller concepts and put them in the bread basket so they weren't falling all over the place. And it just made it simple and easy to keep that there. The lady bought the whole thing. I was really stunned by that. So, okay, so I had the snowman. I had the snowflake projector lights. I had set it on the hood of the car in the front, facing the gifts. And they were just lit up and highlighted the gifts and were snowflaking all over the place. The people went crazy over it. They absolutely loved it. So, I could not believe how well I did. So I'm glad that I did this. Like I said, I had a lot of stuff left over from last year. And I was like, well, I could either, work it into gift concepts and, for the family for the next 10 years. Or we can try and go out again and find that spot, And so last night did well. I was very happy about that. Tonight I am going back out. I'm going to go out from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. because it's Saturday and people go out at Saturday, and usually when they go out, it's at night. And if they're trying to do some late night shopping, Walmart's typically closed. The grocery stores are closed. We are in technically quote unquote last minute shopping because people got paid yesterday. And the people who got paid on the 15th, well, what was that, like last Wednesday? Let's see here, coming along. It's coming along great. Thank you for asking. I really appreciate you, funny and insightful. I think it's 10 p.m. here. But what happens is when you get those other last minute shoppers crammed into Walmart with those long lines, people do not want to do that. Right. And actually the majority of my crowd just wanted to stop by and go. Everything's a grab and go as far as I'm concerned, even the big stuff, because they're not waiting in any lines. Right. But I was conveniently parked in a way to where if they just drove up, and pointed, and that happens a lot actually. So like I had a lady who had her kids in the vehicle. She had like 3 kids in the back seat. She pulled up that she wasn't in a position where she could get out of the car, and she asked questions, and I talked to her through the passenger side window, and stayed with a respectful distance, right? Um, and just went and grabbed stuff off the hood and showed it to her, and she's like, okay, I'll take that one. And she got her gift and she was able to go. Nobody wants to go into these stores with three freaking kids. um, it's a lot to get caught up in. Kids are curious, they're excited, it's all understandable. Um, it's hard to tame that, and then let alone having to wait in a long ass freaking line. So that sounds very different. Let's see here. Let me see what else you have to say. Your Eastern time, and it's open till 11 p.m. there. Okay, maybe they don't have any caretakers at home, single mom kind of a situation. It is very much so that situation. And it's like, okay, you know how when you like get home from work, you just kind of just want to wind down for a few. Nobody wants to get off work and go freaking hit the stores, right? Um, they know the lines are going to be long. They just want a few just to calm down and wind their mentalness down. And most people do have kids, so they're going to be addressing those concerns. If they do have a daycares usually aren't open after 5 p.m. And if they have a babysitter, usually, they go home when the parent gets home. Um, Times are tough, people are strapped. And if they do have a babysitter, their schedule is probably full with, accommodating other people who might be out Christmas shopping, that kind of a situation. They love that. It was like this. People just wanted to grab and go. It was very much that. They came to do business, right? And that's what it's what I kind of get a kick out of with it being on the hood of my car. We're here to meet and do business on the hood, right? And it was that. you know um um they'll ask, just in general, like, okay, what kind of stuff do you have? And it's just like, it's simple. It's spa gifts, it's candle and wax melt sets. And then I have no more Lucky Charms. All the Lucky Charms stuff that I had out with it was the Lucky Charms, it was the hot cocoa, and socks. Those are all gone. The coffee mug concept, the lioness concept is what I called it. So it was a mug in the shape of a lion with socks tucked down in it, and it had a body cream and a body mist and a face mask. Gone. So that kind of stuff went well. Everything went well. Things go well when people have money. Um, they've got some extra money, and when the price is just right, and if it's convenient. People do not like those long lines. They just wanted to be able to, pick up, a nice gift at an affordable price in a convenient way, and go on about, their festivities, um, yes, maybe they don't, a lot of the situation might be, as we get closer to the holidays, people start decorating their houses, and they wanted to take their kids to go look at lights in the neighborhood. They want to go look at lights in the parks. I don't know about you guys in your areas, but we do have a lot of um, parks that we put lights on, right? City parks will put on light displays. And so people are out looking at Christmas lights, and they have their kids with them. And, in my situation, they're getting, Slurpees from the convenience store, or just going through the drive-through of Circle K, getting the little, drive-through of Carl's Jr., getting their Happy Meals, and go and look at Christmas tree lights, and So the lady last night had just came through the drive-through, stopped, saw my gifts on the hood of my car, and was rolled her window down. She cute 3 kids in the back seat, and was like I need to get a gift for my sister. Um, what kind of stuff do you have? And I was able to show that stuff to her, and she's like, I'll take that one. And it was like all of 3 minutes that conversation happened to maybe getting her gift, and she was able to drive right off, and they could continue on, and it was it's a great convenient way for people to shop, you know and not have to wait in those long lines. And that stuff is crap in those stores. It's expensive crap. And have your kids with you and trying to keep them, um you know I guess tame, if you will. Because they get excited and they want to go down the toy aisle, and the stores have all this celebratory stuff out. And so I'm out of Arizona. Funny and insightful. Yes, that is very true. Long lines are tricky. We have to start observing people. Yeah. So, okay. They loved my 8 foot tall snowman. They could see it from the road. As it starts to get darker, you can see the lights in the snowman rolling around. And then I had gotten a snowflake light projector and put it on the hood of the car so the snowflakes were whirling around the gifts. They love the display. It gets their attention. It gets them in our good holiday spirits. And then they're also getting to shop for a loved one, at a reasonable price and a really great gift. And that stress is alleviated off their shoulders. Gift buying can be stressful for people, because, what do the people want that they're shopping for? Are they going to have the money for it? Where are they going to go to get it? Dealing with the long lines, right? And they were so happy when they left because they got that done. They got that task done, and they were happy about the gifts that they bought, right? So, I had a really good time. I did really well. So, like I said, this past Friday was payday. Yesterday was payday. So you can best believe I was out, and I did better, so much better than I thought I would. I love the people that bought the display. that was that was a nice, pleasant surprise. They bought the whole thing. She's like, this is for my sister and her husband. I'll just take all of it. And her sister was having a hard time and going through some difficult um, things in life all happening at once. And she's like, I want to do something really nice for her. And she's been having a really hard time, and I'll just want to get all of this. This could be for her and her husband. And I was like, okay. I shouted out a price, and she's like, sounds good, and off they went. So, I'm gonna go back up there tonight. I'm gonna do from 5 p.m. to 11. Things start to jump off at night. I think during the daytime, people are shopping the stores, doing their day shopping. Um, I do think they're aware of long lines and last minute. And I think that they're aware of themselves being last minute. So it's like, okay, if I'm a last minute shopper, I know there's other last minute shoppers, but I just don't want to do with a long line, that kind of a thing. So, pardon me, my throat is dry and sore because of doing so much talking last night and meeting with people, but I did so well. They loved the bows. So, they like our fancy bow work, and they love the display. What I ended up doing was buying it's like a portable battery that you charge, and you can plug things in it. That is well worth its value. Even if you have a home emergency where the power goes out, you can, plug your cell phones into it. It's got like 6 portals that you can plug in, and then it's got also extra portals to charge your cell phone. That sucker is well worth its value. I got it for $60 on Amazon. So what I do is I plug the snowman into it, and then the lights, the snowflake projector lights, plug that into it, and I also plug my cell phone into it to keep that charged. That thing is super energy efficient, and so is the snowman. I mean, all that's running that sucker is a fan, and then a little bit of voltage for the lights that's going on in it. So I want to grab it and show you guys. Give me just a few seconds because it's right on the other side of the table. So give me a few, and I'm going to grab it. I got it recharging right now. It's this one. So this is what it looks like. And it's got, so it's got 2 plug-in outlets. You can see the cell phone charger outlets. This part you can plug into your car if you want to try and, charge it further that way. I didn't need to because it is so energy efficient. I had the snowman plugged in. I had the snowflakes plugged in. And mind you, I was out there from 2 in the afternoon until 8 at night. So let's see, this was that 6 hours. And last weekend, I did have the cell phone plugged in on it. I had it plugged in for a good couple hours. This thing is very, very energy efficient. So say you're out and say, I don't know, say for some reason, say you use something that's high wattage. You could probably plug a coffee pot in this sucker, and it goes low. You can plug it as a car charge adapter that you plug in here, but I also bought the solar panel that you can buy as an option with it. So I bought the solar panel, and it can be charged that way too. So this thing is great to have in a home emergency power outage. Right now I have a friend who is stuck without power for 3 days, and she lives in a freezing state. They just had a bad winter storm. In fact, that's what knocked her power out. She does not have one of these. And she was using her cell phone minimally, to talk, to communicate, throughout their power outage. You could plug a lamp in this. You could plug a couple lamps in this. You could charge your cell phones. It's got the thumb drive right here. You could plug your laptop into it. It's got the thumb drive right here. It's got all kinds of other adapters that you can plug in. And, it also has a battery or a flashlight. So if I turn that on, that's the flashlight. And then you can also turn it on brighter and brightest. That gets really bright. This thing's the bomb. So it's got 3 flashlight settings. Super bright to a dim bright, to conserve on its energy. So if I could suggest in investing in anything, it would be one of these. It would be a float that's at least 8 feet tall. I have 2. I have this snowman, and then I have the 8-foot tall giant heart, and then there's another heart that rotates on top. I use that one for Valentine's Day and Mother's Day. people said that they saw me from the road and just came right in. So that gets attention. And the snowflake display did really, projector did extremely well. People love the display. It's fun. It got them in the spirits. And, they just wanted to come and see what was going on and came to check it out and liked my stuff and wanted to get that shopping thing done. So I will let you guys know how things go tonight. It's almost 9 a.m. here. I was just really, I guess when you do well, it brings a lot of excitement. And I really enjoyed my time with the people. And so I will let you guys know tonight how things go. If you don't want to set your tables out with the tablecloths, put stuff on the hood of your car. If you watched my live that I did yesterday, I had put a plastic vinyl Christmas decorated tablecloth on the hood of the car and then set the gifts on that. People love that. And that's it. That's all you need to do. And I don't care how small your hood is, do it. You want to put stuff on the hood, on the roof, and on the trunk. Okay? Get your stuff out there. Because I know what it's like to get easily, those tables are heavy. I'm handicapped, and they were a bear to deal with. So, although I had gotten them set up, they weren't mobile. It's not something that I could easily break down, put in my car. Even though they fold in half, they still take up a lot of space. Then you have to, unfold them and do all that all over again. People really, people liked, the hood, and it just took a tablecloth, and the snowman, of course, that drew attention, and then the lights blinging all around. They love that. So, and if you're in an area, that happened to me last weekend when I was out and I had, the tables and the tablecloths, and they had that event going across the street. I made a decision after being out there for 4 hours. I got to go elsewhere. I'm going to take the stuff and I'm going to get as much in my car as I possibly can. And I'm going to go to a spot that I know is busy. And I'm just going to throw stuff up on the hood. And I stayed there for 2 hours. It was a mile-long drive-through of In-N-Out Burger. Nobody bought because it was too early. It's just so crazy what last minute looks like. So this is a last minute paycheck. Yesterday was Friday, so it's this last minute paycheck that people just got paid that they're going to be, shopping and wanting to get stuff. So tonight is going to be my last night. I'm not going to go out tomorrow. My experience is that, pretty much when people get paid Friday, it's gone by Saturday night. Sundays when they do their food shopping, they're doing their laundry, that kind of a thing. And so with that being said, I'm not going to be going out tomorrow. And being that I'm handicapped, tonight will be enough. So, I almost sold out of the stuff that I had that was, that I had taken out. So I did extremely well. I'm glad I made the decision I did. I had stuff from last year, and I just decided last minute, I'm just going to go ahead and do Christmas. I'll do a small one, and, I ended up doing really well. So I will be checking in hopefully tonight afterwards. If I'm too tired like I was last night, then I'll be checking in on Sunday with you guys. So I just want to reach out, show some encouragement. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you. I'm so happy too. Because I always said, Christmas just doesn't do well because it's at the end of the month and rent is due on the first, and then we're trying to work within paydays and trying to, Christmas is gonna be Thursday. Payday, their last freaking payday before Christmas was yesterday, so we're technically in last minute shopping, right? And so, people just don't want to wait in those long lines. They've got concerns about, what kind of junk, is going to be in those stores and, just that type of stuff. So I was able to alleviate a lot of that. And I mean, it was literally just everybody just grabbing and going, and we're happy, husbands buying for their wives. Um, I sold one $50 hat box concept. Um, Everything else was pretty much in the $40 range. So, inexpensive was where it was at. And, you know, it did well. So I was very happy about that. I was able to hit the budget, is what I'm trying to state. I was able to hit the budget and get in on that last minute stampede, if you will, and create a nice, convenient location for people to come to. So if I could state anything to keep in mind, it would be those things. Make sure your location's convenient. Try and have it to where they can pull up and drive off. I was in a parking lot where there was empty spots next to me, so they pull up in a parking spot next to me, come out, look around, and grabbing it with what they wanted and go, but there was a lot that people were able to drive by and do what I call window shopping, and then they'll circle around and, either come and park or roll their window down. And I would help them that way. But that was great for that lady who had 3 kids in the back seat, who just couldn't get out with her kids in a parking lot, and shop, but I was in a position to where the car was in the parking spot and the road was right here, and she was just able to stop without blocking traffic, because it was a good wide area, and ask questions, and I could bring stuff to her, and she was able to make a decision and did not have to get her kids out of the car, did not have to park, did not have to go and fight those long lines, did not have to do any of that kind of stuff. I think what people are also going to be shopping for now is maybe people they forgot to get stuff for. That happens. When you've got, friends, coworkers, siblings, cousins, aunts and uncles, your parents, you may have bought for your mother but forgot to buy something for your dad. Usually men's stuff does not do well, but I did have one lady ask if I had any men's gifts. I was floored. Nobody bought men's gifts for Christmas or Valentine's. And with all the other basketers, that was their experience too. We're all, perplexed by it. But like I said, people at this point, they are last minute, yes. But I also feel like it's last minute also in a way of people that they forgot, because you get overwhelmed and you have your upfront list in your mind because people nobody's writing stuff down anymore. Nobody. We've got these stressful, hard, fast-paced lives, right? People are overwhelmed. We've got, stuff happening. And so anyhow, they're just flying by the seat of their pants as best they can. And, maybe they forgot a person. Maybe they forgot their in-laws. Maybe they forgot a sister-in-law. So yeah. So I just wanted to share that and get that out. I'm going to go back to bed, and I'm going to be getting up at 4 p.m. and picking up another load of gifts and heading back out. So I wish you all the very best. And I just wanted to share, my experience with how things are going so far. And I love you guys, and I will be talking to you tonight or tomorrow. All right. Stay blessed, and Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.